Let's go back in time for a second. It's 2010, you're on your way to school, and your mom turns up the top hit station at Pandora. You don't have a care in the world except for the grief that will forever be locked in your heart due to the Camp Rock 2 Final Jam ending. Your mom turns up the volume, and Dynamite by Tayo Cruz is playing on your radio. Everything is just simple in your 8-year-old world. Everything is just fine. Everything is just amazing. Something that you will never ever get again because it was 14 years ago, and yeah, you're old now. You're in college or just graduated college, and now you actually have to be an adult. It's been 14 years. 14 years since that song came out. 14 years since you were probably in elementary school playing with your Zuzu bets and having fun with your friends. Am I making you feel old already? Good. Today we'll be taking a trip down memory lane to the year 2010 by exploring the music that shaped our lives during that year. In this video, we'll be talking about artists, albums, songs, and events, or what I consider major events in music of the year 2010. Before we begin, I just want to let you all know that I want to turn this into a series where I get to explore music from the decade of the 2010s. So if you're interested, make sure to subscribe and to follow me on social media to get more updates. I'm also making a Spotify playlist of music from the year 2010, so if you're feeling a little bit nostalgic, the link will be in the description below so you can listen to the top hits of 2010 and feel like you're in elementary school again. So let's get on with the video. So before we talk about the music of the year 2010, I thought that it'd be a good idea to talk about the artists who were around at the time first. Either they were making their debut or were at their peak. The landscape looks very different from what it does today. Although there are several artists that were big back then that are big now, like Taylor Swift and Beyonce, 14 years is a really long time for artists like them to make a billion other impacts in the music world and entertainment world in general. Like, speaking of Taylor Swift, in honor of the Speak Now Taylor's version and the 30 billion other albums that she has released since then, in 2010 she released the original version of Speak Now, which included songs like Mine, Mean, and Back to December. Not only did she release Speak Now, the original version, she also released the Wonderstruck perfume, which is one of the most iconic perfumes to ever exist. So thank you, Taylor, and thank you, Grandma, for gifting me that for Christmas that year. That perfume laid in my dresser for like 12 years. So yeah, thank you, Taylor, for that incredible perfume and that really, really good album. I appreciate it. Katy Perry was big as well. She had just released her album Teenage Dream, making it one of the biggest selling pop albums of all time. Literally, it spawned a lot of number ones. It was just one of the biggest eras that any pop artist could have been in the 2010s. If there is an era that comes close to the Teenage Dream era, I would compare it to Dua Lipa's Future Nostalgia era that started in 2019 and lasted all the way to probably 2023, which is a very long era. But Katy Perry's Teenage Dream era gave us songs like California Girls, Fireworks, and the title track Teenage Dream. Not to mention that she released the complete edition of the album, which had a bunch of other bonus tracks that also became number one hits. She went on a massive tour. She released an insane documentary, and also she gave us an unforgettable experience at the Kids' Choice Awards when she almost got murdered by slime, literally. That moment is just something that will forever stay in the trenches on Twitter and something that will pop up every other 6 months for us to remember. So yeah, Katie, this is kind of part of your legacy now, but it's okay. It's okay. It was a fun moment. You're okay. You're alive. Like, you're iconic. You survived the Kids' Choice Awards, and that's all that matters. Speaking of pop icons of the 2010s, there is one person that I think outshines a lot of them, and that is Kesha. Although her debut song TikTok was released in 2009, its definite peak was 2010. It literally was the smash hit of the year, and it catapulted Kesha into superstardom. Not to mention that the girl not only released one album, she released 2 albums in the year 2010, Animal and Cannibal. Both of those albums threw out several hits, and TikTok has managed to revive many of them, like Animal, which was trending around 2020, and most recently what I think is Backstabber in 2021. Honestly, I like the Backstabber trend. The transitions were flawless, and honestly, it's one of the few trends that I've seen on TikTok that have not been turned into some weird thing, which I'm gonna be talking about later when I get to... Yeah, but we're not talking about songs revivals, we're talking about their peak. In 2010, 2011, 2012, Kesha was definitely on a roll when it came to releasing new music and releasing new albums. And honestly, what defined Kesha for me in the early 2010s definitely has to be her appearance in Victorious, which released a year after her massive success with TikTok. For those of you who don't remember, there is an episode in Victorious where there is a contest where they had to eat all this ice cream, and every ice cream like tub like bowl had like the letters for Kesha, and they had to complete the name Kesha in order for her to come to their house and perform her music. And I dreamed to have something like that, to be part of a contest like that. But I honestly, at this point, I don't even think any of those contests were real, because even the Danimals Sprouse Twins contest wasn't even real. Like, who won that? Like, that's crazy. But yeah, like, I had already picked out all the sections, like the section in my house where Kesha was going to sing and everything. Like, I was excited. Like, she was going to perform every single song. And now, at the ripe age of 21, I still want her to perform in my house. Like, I still want to meet Kesha, and I still want her to perform in my house. So one day, when I have enough money, Kesha, can you please sing at my 30-year-old birthday party? Thank you so much. I will be contacting you for that, so thank you. Bruno Mars was another artist that released their debut in 2010. He released hit after hit after hit, and his first album was probably the first album that I ever learned in its full entirety. As I did my research for this video, I noticed how many songs I still knew about that album and how I can sing them word for word. My favorite songs for that album has to be Runaway Baby and The Other Side. Those are my two favorites, and to me those are like the two best songs of the album, including Grenade. Grenade will always be one of the best songs ever made. Like, it's just heartbreaking, but also like Bruno Mars like ate it up. Then there were artists who made an impact in 2010 and then kind of fell off the face of the earth a little bit. One artist that in particular that caught my attention was the rapper B.O.B. He is mostly known to the general public as the rapper who released the song Airplanes featuring Hayley Williams from Paramore. This is a song that has been tainted by TikTok, and it will forever be tainted for me. Every single time that song is gonna play, it's just, the feeling is not the same. I'm not even going to mention it. If you're curious, look it up yourself. I promise that it's not, and you know what, I'm not going to promise that it's not going to be inappropriate, because honestly, I don't know the lengths that this trend has reached. But let's just say that people had a lot of time on their hands in the summer of 2021, and two childhood cartoons will never ever be the same again. So that's all I gotta say about it. But anyways, B.O.B.'s debut song was Nothing on You featuring Bruno Mars, and then he also released Magic featuring Rivers Cuomo from Weezer, which is iconic. Bless B.O.B., bless Rivers Cuomo, bless this song, because without this song, we would have gotten the most iconic scene from the 2012 classic film Pitch Perfect. Like, say what you want about Ben Platt. Everybody has their opinions on Ben Platt, and I know that, and that's okay, but he ate that up. Like, his performance of Magic in Pitch Perfect is probably one of the most ingrained scenes in Gen Z brains around the world. Last but not least, there is Taya Cruz, the British singer who gave us Dynamite and Break Your Heart. These two songs were everywhere, especially Dynamite. And Dynamite even spawned a cover by China and McClain from Ant Farm that was in my iPod, and I listened to that song 24/7. The song Dynamite, the original one, yeah, I've heard it many times in my life, but I don't think the amount of times that I've heard the original version in my life will match the many times that I would play Dynamite by China and McClain every day before going to school. Like, I don't think those numbers are mathing, because it was insane. But as of the making of this video, Dynamite has crossed 1 billion streams on Spotify. So now we have to get Break Your Heart to reach 1 billion streams, because those two songs are iconic. And low-key, like, I would pay good money to hear those two songs live. Like, Taya Cruz has to go on like some tour through clubs or something like that so we can hear these songs live. Speaking of songs, I took a look at the Billboard Hot 100 end chart for the year 2010, and it was packed. At first place, we have TikTok, which we already talked about. TikTok has proven time and time again to be one of the biggest songs of the 2010s, and probably one of the biggest songs of all time. The cultural impact of this song is just unmatched. There is not a single millennial or a Gen Zer that doesn't know this song, and if you say that you don't, you're low-key kind of lying. Because, like, everybody knew the chorus of this song. Like, this song essentially made everyone feel like they wanted to be a teenager running around town, partying and getting drunk, but the reality was that you were in 4th grade and your bedtime was 8:30 because you had class the next day. TikTok made us all feel like we could just do anything at all, but for reals, we couldn't, because that wasn't the reality. But everyone was trying to recreate the music video for this song. Everybody was trying to recreate this song, period. From The Simpsons to Glee to the iconic Diary of a Wimpy Kid trilogy. Like, that had one of the funniest scenes for kids in that movie. I remember watching that for the very first time and just laughing because it was just iconic for all of us when we were in 4th grade. There is literally one song parody that has over 180 million views on YouTube. I'm really angry at myself because instead of playing with Legos, I should have been making music video parodies. This feels like that Twitter meme where people would say that they should have invested in real estate or bought a home during the 2008 market crash instead of playing with their toys. Like, that's kind of how it feels like, you know? Because what do you mean 180 million views? Like, that's a lot of people watching your video. Can you imagine like how much money one can make? I don't even know. I don't know. I can't even imagine something like that. But yeah, anyways, the rest of the 2010 Billboard Hot 100 end chart contained Need You Now by Lady A, Hey Soul Sister by Train. You had California Girls by Katy Perry, Oh My God by Usher, Airplanes by B.O.B. featuring Hayley Williams, Love the Way You Lie by Eminem featuring Rihanna. You had Bad Romance by Lady Gaga, and Dynamite and Break Your Heart by Tayo Cruz. Like, Tayo Cruz had 2 songs. Lady Gaga had Bad Romance. You had a little bit of Eminem in there. You had a little bit of country with Lady A. Like, this list was great. I can't wait to look at the list for the other years in the future. Like, I'm excited. Obviously, this list is full of iconic songs, but it leaves out several that I think are also very important and influential to our pop culture today that came out in 2010 or around the time of 2010. First and foremost, the song that started it all, Baby by Justin Bieber, which, you know, now it's kind of like a reality for him. He kind of manifested that. It took him 14 years, and now he's gonna have a kid. How are you feeling, believers? How are you feeling knowing that, nope, that he's locked in? The fact that it wasn't in the top 10 is beyond me. Like, this song's music video literally was the most viewed video on YouTube until Gangnam Style took over the reins 2 years later. And then it was also kind of the most disliked music video on YouTube, or the most disliked video on YouTube in general, until it got taken over by YouTube Rewind 2018, which makes sense because what even was YouTube Rewind 2018? Like, that was something. But every girl at the age of 7 to 16 was blasting Baby. It literally became just the anthem for all of us. And, you know, no one was doing young, cute, teeny bop star like Justin Bieber at the age of what, like 14, 15? Yeah, like, he was every 10-year-old's dream boyfriend, including myself, kind of. I was more of a Zac Efron kind of girl, but I get it. Lady Gaga was having her moment in 2010 as well. She had just released The Fame Monster, which included Bad Romance, which was in the top 10. It also had the best collaboration ever created, Telephone featuring Beyonce. And, you know, it's literally the crossover of a lifetime. Like, you had the 2 biggest pop stars in the world and of our generation in one song together. And the way that this song was not appreciated at the time pisses me off, because the song should have debuted at number 1. It should have won multiple Grammys, and we were never served the part 2 that we were promised. The music video for this song ends in a to be continued, and no, I don't consider Videophone as a part 2 because we need to keep up with the story that the music video for Telephone had. So Lady Gaga, what do you have to say for yourself? I hope that she's featured in Beyonce's Renaissance Act 3, which they're saying is a rock album. So hopefully Lady Gaga is in there singing rock with Beyonce. Please, we need to make that happen. We're going to manifest it. We're going to put it into the world. Beyonce got Miley Cyrus in Cowboy Carter, so we can get Lady Gaga in whatever the 3rd album is called. So let's manifest this, okay? But going back to Lady Gaga, honestly, like, 2010 was such a big year for her, including having The Fame Monster coming out. That album had the song Alejandro, which is my personal favorite from that album. And it's really one of the greatest pop songs ever made. Honestly, that's just the truth. But we'll get back to Lady Gaga later in this video. Another song that came out in 2010 that made an impact, in my opinion, is All I Do Is Win by DJ Khaled. ESPN and if you're from Puerto Rico, Guapados were never the same. This song is just the random one that I saw on the list that just kept staring at me, and I kept staring at it and I was like, you are a song that exists. And then I remember that it was also featured in The Fall Guy, which is a movie that came out not so long ago. But this song was mostly played in commercials or ads for sporting events like basketball games and baseball games and football games. So I never really heard the song in its entirety. Genuinely, I'm kind of curious to see what the song is about. Snoop Dogg is in the song? Wait. You know, maybe there's a reason why I never heard this song in its entirety. Emma Stone made this song justice when she did the lip sync battle with Jimmy Fallon to this song. So I think I'm going to listen to this song completely. It's just, I don't think it's worth it. But it's a song that exists and it's on the list, so I thought it'd be fun to point it out. I also wanted to sit and talk about two songs that made their rounds in 2010 by the same artist, and that is Like a G6 and Rocketeer by Far East Movement. These two songs, especially Like a G6, played everywhere. And honestly, like Far East Movement, they came in, they dropped those two songs and then dipped. Like, what was that all about? Why did they just come in, drop those two songs, which incredible songs, and then they left us hanging? They left us wanting more. Like, I don't know what happened. They should jump back on the comeback bandwagon and then drop new music, because those two songs were literal drugs. Like, I don't know what they put in them. Like, those are two amazing songs. First of all, they should have been in the top 10 year-end list for 2010 because those were amazing songs. And number two, we should play them more than they're played. Like, we live in a society in 2024 where no one talks about these two songs anymore. Now we've made it to the part of the video where I'm going to be talking about events that I think are important to pop culture and 2010 music culture in general. These are the three events that occurred in the year 2010 that I feel that they have either defined music as we know it today or are a sign of the times. And if we keep revisiting it, is basically just a time capsule and it's just there for us. So I'm excited to share these events with you guys because yeah. The first event that we must discuss is the birth of Glee. Now, I know Glee, it started in 2009, but I think that 2010 marked the beginning of an event that will create a chain of events that will unfold every time someone listens to a song and says, they sang this song in Glee. Season 1, episode 22, Journey to Regionals, which is the last episode of season 1, aired in 2010. This episode alone had the cover of Don't Stop Believing, Bohemian Rhapsody, and Any Way You Wanted. So I feel like that episode specifically created a shift in the world, essentially. Now, I'm not gonna deny and say that I was not one of those people who point out that they sang a song in Glee. I'm gonna formally express the fact that yes, I was a Glee growing up. Yeah, my mom would help me with my homework while Glee was playing in the background, and yes, we would watch Glee as it was airing on TV. So yes, 4th grade me was watching Glee and just thinking that all these songs were original songs. My mom and I always sat together and we watched the Glee 3D concert. It was amazing. One of the best movies I've ever watched at that age. Run Joey Run ran through my veins in 4th grade. Like, that song, wow, the actual performance of that song, incredible, so dramatic. It should have won an Oscar. Like, the power of Glee cannot be understated. Like, I was sitting there on my couch when Blaine got hit with that smoothie in the face and it had like rocks in it or something, and it left him blind in one eye as he was competing in a singing battle to Bad by Michael Jackson. And it's 6 seasons. In its 6 seasons, the Glee cast charted 207 songs in the Billboard Hot 100, with Don't Stop Believing being its highest charting song that peaked at number 4. Another event that created a much more profound impact in our world was the birth of One Direction. Even after 7 years of them being in hiatus, it is very much present in our day-to-day. One Direction was formed on July 23rd, 2010 by Simon Cowell, Nicole Scherzinger and Louis Walsh on the TV show The X Factor. One Direction went on to be one of the biggest boy bands in history. They released 5 albums in total and infected pop radio as we know it. Songs like What Makes You Beautiful, Night Changes, and Best Song Ever, and more took an important part in music in the 2010s as we know it. My favorite song at the moment, my favorite One Direction song at the moment definitely has to be No Control. I play that song almost every day when I'm driving to work because it's just such a great song. It is kind of exciting to see Directioners freak out every single time one of the boys mentions the group or comments on each other's Instagram posts. Like, it's just, my TikTok For You page just gets full of people creating conspiracies of what is One Direction doing next and when are they going to be reuniting. Like, these guys had such a massive chokehold on society that to this day, like, they have like millions and millions and millions of listeners, like monthly listeners on Spotify. And, you know, I'm not gonna deny, like, their music is magical. Last year I got to hear What Makes You Beautiful live, and honestly, like, I get it. Like, it's magical. It's beautiful, honestly. The last event that I want to talk about are the 2010 MTV VMAs. That year gave us the iconic Lady Gaga meat dress. It gave us the iconic Born This Way announcement. So the Born This Way album was imminent after the 2010 VMAs. You had Justin Bieber winning Best New Artist and performing Baby. You had the cast of Glee and the cast of The Social Network presenting awards. You had the iconic Katy Perry, Kesha, Nicki Minaj, and Rihanna picture, and the most 2010 video that you will ever see that pops up on my For You page every 5 to 6 business days without fault. Like, that video always appears on my For You page, but it is very, very 2010. Then you had Florence and the Machine performing The Dog Days Are Over. You had B.O.B., Bruno Mars, and Paramore performing Nothing on You, Airplanes, and The Only Exception. You had Jared Leto's band, 30 Seconds to Mars, winning a VMA. And you had Lady Gaga winning the most awards of the night, which, if you think about it, this could be the start of the 2010 MTV VMA Awards to House of Gucci pipeline, which, in my opinion, should be studied. Because what do you mean these two individuals who probably didn't even know each other won VMAs that night and then like 10 years later went on to star in the ever so camp House of Gucci? The late 2000s and the early 2010s VMAs were events that were always covered in the news for days. Today, we don't even hear from the VMAs, honestly. Like, this year, we're not even getting an MTV Movie and TV Awards. Like, that's just what happened to the culture. What happened to society in 2024 where we don't even have these award shows anymore. Like, these award shows were just chaotic, from the red carpet looks to the award speeches to performances. Like, it was just unmatched, and they are definitely a sign of the times and a time capsule for all of us because, wow. Honestly, the last VMAs that I think were kind of iconic were the 2018 VMAs where Ariana sang God Is a Woman. Well, that was my mini deep dive into the world of music of the year 2010. Thank you so much if you stay till the end of this video. I know that it's kind of long, but I'm a very big fan of long form content and video essays, so I thought it'd be fun to do one myself, and I want to turn this into a series because I thought that it'd be fun to explore the music of our formative years. If you're Gen Z or a late millennial, you know that the 2010s is our decade, and this is a decade where a lot of things happened for us and where we were growing up and on our way to becoming adults. So I thought that it'd be fun to explore the music from this decade. So if you're interested in learning more about this decade in the music, please subscribe to my channel to get more of my videos, hit the bell icon to get notified every single time I post a video, and follow me on social media for more updates. I am posting a lot more on Instagram and TikTok, so make sure to do that as well. So thank you so much for watching. I'll be seeing you guys next time. Bye.